We're out here on Neely Henry this afternoon, early November. Nice 70-degree day, which changes seasons day to day here in Alabama, but fortunately we're able to get a beautiful afternoon to come out and play around a little bit. Neely Henry, if you're not familiar, is 11,000 acre lake. Got 339 square miles, or 33 total miles of shoreline. Tributary that flood control lake, so current plays a big role in this lake as far as fishing goes. Coming out to Neely Henry, that's kind of the key point that I always like to look at first is lake levels and what the lake's going to be doing as far as flow. On the lower end of the lake, you got Neely Henry Dam, 3 turbines and floodgates, and then on the upper end, you've got Weiss Dam. Both of those play into this lake more so than it does on some of the bigger tributaries. On this lake, you almost have to treat it like a tidal lake. Going into fishing, whether you're fishing tournaments or just going into just a fun weekend of fishing, those fish are going to react differently to what this lake's doing from a water level. Normal water level on this lake is 508 is normal pool on this lake. You can go to Alabama Power website and get what the actual up-to-date level is of the lake, or you can call 1-800-LAKES-11 and it will give you not only the lake levels but also the generation schedule. So you can get both of those information from either the website or the 1-800-LAKES-11. But just the lake level alone is not the only factor. The big factor on this lake is the upper end versus the lower end. This lake has so many twists and turns in the middle part of the lake. The bottom end of the lake may be dropping while the top end of the lake's going out of the banks flooding. So depending on where you're at on the lake also plays into this. About Minnesota Bend down would be considered downriver. Minnesota River Bend upriver would be considered upriver. So with that being said, what I like to do when I'm planning a fishing trip to Neely Henry is look at what the lake level is the day before or the night before, and if it's at 508 and they're generating 3 turbines on Neely Henry on the lower end of the lake and none on the upper end of the lake, that means they're sucking that water out of the lake and that lake level is dropping. And you can look at that schedule and see that, and as soon as you see that lake level is going to be dropping, probably going to have to get away from the grass, get away from the bank, and target some offshore items. As they change that generation schedule throughout the day, at 10 o'clock they may start generating 2 or 3 at the upper end at Weiss Dam, and then there's just a pretty good flow through the lake, and that lake level is going to stay the same. If they're scheduled to cut off that lower end, those turbines at the Neely Henry Dam run 0 at Neely Henry, run 2 or 3 at Weiss, and it's filling the lake up. That water's coming up, and those fish are going to move with it. These fish reposition themselves numerous times throughout the day, and it's all dependent on that lake level. So big piece of advice coming to Neely Henry is get in tune with those lake levels and which way that water's going up or down in the area that you're fishing.